Knowledge is very important. Knowledge gets you to the next level, whatever that next level is for you, and ultimately to a situation like the young lady spoke about, where you're making a good living doing voiceovers, doing something that you love to do.
I think it's super important in our industry to know how to price yourself in business and know all of the things that encompass what it costs for you to run that business.
I don't think that our forefathers in this industry would have ever thought that we would be doing all the things that we do on a daily basis to have our businesses be thriving and running entities. It's
absolutely
totally different.
Some rules of thumb for the acting of video games, because that's why you're here. You want to become better actors in video games. The acting style for video games is more like theater or movies.
Video games, half the time they don't. It's like, this is angry, this is sad, this is happy, and that's the only direction that you have for something. You don't know whether, are you replying to a character in the game? Are you replying to the player? We really don't know that.
It's your job to make this interesting, because if it's interesting to the people that are casting you, it's going to be interesting to the people that are playing.
We get these scripts with just the words on the piece of paper. We don't know what's happening on camera. So you got to make all this stuff up in your head because no one's there to guide you along.
The microphone will know if you're not fully committed to that character. If you're not smiling, if you're just thinking a smile, if you're trying to emote anger and you're not really angry, the microphone doesn't lie about it.
You know, the idea is to be conversational. The idea of delivering copy is to tell a story.
Over the top, what feels over the top is your base.
Oh, it does?
In many cases, what feels over the top to you in the attitude or the emotion is usually kind of your baseline.
I'm telling you, we need a new travel agent.
They're all the same.
Squashed in tight like that in a crate?
I hear you.
3 connecting flights.
It was brutal, I know.
Just to get into a truck and start driving.
After all that...
We'll be salad before we can cash in those miles.
That's going up on Facebook.
Don't be putting all the stuff on
Don't do that. I want more personality. I want more emotions to come in.
Zooey Deschanel, y'all know who she is? She's a huge prototype for the young ladies right now because she's so wacky and kind of quirky, and her voice cracks, kind of talks really fast, and then she kind of brings it down a little bit. That's what they mean by adding layers and levels, and it's another great trick to make you sound more real.
Matter of fact is another descriptive. They all mean the same thing. They're telling you don't act. That's really what it comes down to, okay? We never want to hear you acting.
I always say lead with who you are. Because everybody in the room, all the rooms across America here, everybody tells a story in a very unique style. You've got something unique that you bring to it.
When you look at a script, whether it's 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 60 seconds, you're looking at a short story. Most of the time, that story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, just like any story. In advertising, and we are talking about advertising your products and services. In advertising, it's not so much a beginning, middle, and end. In advertising, it's called problem, solution, call to action.
All we have in nonfiction is we have the author's voice telling us their truth in a logical format or progression that illuminates their intellectual argument. That's it. We don't have zombies, we don't have love scenes, we don't have funny dialogue, we have none of that. So you could say we've gone from having 50 storytelling tools down to 5.
Promo is different from commercial in that you have limited amount of time and sound bites to work around, so it's definitely very different than the commercial copy, which is pretty much normally you.
An all-new Love Cruise right after That 70s Show and Grounded for Life.
Good night.
99% of the time, you're still going to get a promo that's still a little pushed. There is still that cadence that we've established as the promo read, and it's going to continue to be that way because they really need to reach that audience. And let's face it, they want to grab the audience, and most of the people, when you see a commercial, you get up, you go to the bathroom, you get up, you go to the kitchen, you get up, you go do something else. So they're sitting there fighting for your attention.
the voice is trying to cover it and soul is telling a story, that's not true. So that's why someone is stuttering and stammering, and it's regular human communication.
Anything that you're doing live, like introducing presenters, introducing the host, bouncing it off to a break, telling them what's coming up. Some of the coming ups are pre-recorded. Others are just, cue announce. The Kennedy Center honors will continue with so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. They usually do everything in threes. That's pretty much the key to promo, too. It's always threes. They triple everything.
A lot of times they cut and paste from a manual. That was not meant to be spoken. It was meant to be read. And those of you that know and you have sentences that are this long, if you have the breath to execute it and you can say it beautifully so that people don't realize that it's a really horribly written sentence, then you've done your job, right? Your job is to make horribly written copies sound beautiful.
This is something we do because we love it. And if we, our job is to go on audition and keep our reels up and stay in class and do our marketing and make sure that we are in tip-top shape and improv and physical shape and in good spiritual shape. But this business owes you nothing. And that sounds really harsh, but I wish somebody had told me that when I was 20-something years old.
But what we're paying for on these sites is not the pleasure of auditioning. We're paying them to generate leads for us. We're paying them to go out there to put in the SEO infrastructure, to do the work that we do a lot of this work on our own as well. But it's not bad when you have a company doing it for you, okay? That's what we're paying for. We're not paying to audition. We're paying to have someone lead generate for us. And the closer that those sites are to being pure matchmakers that just generate the leads and then let us deal with the clients without trying to get their hands into the pie too much, the better job they're doing for us and the more ideal that situation is.
Every time somebody gets a spec, every time that this agency has to create a proposal, they're all looking to give them the lowest number possible. And so we just get slashed.
But I like slates not to be statistical sounding. I want them to sound like you have just been asked, who's the best person for this job? You shouldn't be doing an upread on your name, because that lists you as a statistical thing instead of a real person behind the mic.
You have to know how to act to be able to do voiceovers. It's not how you sound, but how you interpret the copy that wins the job. It is a reality. It can happen. And it starts with knowledge. It starts with practice. So while we're here, we know that we can make mistakes and we can do things that we don't want to do in the professional world. So we practice here so that we don't.
VIPeeps. Very cool.
Everybody's brilliant now.
You get a car. You get a car. Everybody gets a car.
I put under my seat